Hello, beautiful queen. I feel like that so many of us really want to feel more pleasure in our lives. But how do we feel pleasure without feeling guilty or feeling ashamed of it, especially when we receive it? And why aren't we feeling more pleasure? Why aren't we having more of it? And why are we still only associating pleasure with sex or with this fleeting feeling? There is one thing that I know tends to block our ability to feel and receive pleasure, and it is perfectionism, the need to get things right. This trauma response, this old habit, this old way of being, it does block our pleasure and our radiance. So how do we release and let go of that inner critic, that voice inside of us, so we can have actually enough space in our lives to explore our pleasure and sensuality and to evolve as women in this way? And that is what I want to explore with you today, because it is a major block for many of us women, especially if you've been used to or taught to move through life from the mind and therefore disconnected. Trying to perfect everything and tying your worth with your achievements. And yes, gorgeous, that does block your ability to feel so good in the body. Welcome, beautiful queen. My name is Jessica Angelari. I'm so grateful for your presence here. This is a space where we discover all things related to sensuality, sexuality, beauty, abundance, vitality, and so much more, of course. And the thing that I love to do is to support women in reclaiming their pleasure as theirs and to tap into their creative life force energy, this sexual energy, which isn't just about sex. It's really your medicine that you need to create the life that you truly desire. And that's what my work is really devoted to. And if you haven't already, make sure to join my free course, Erotic Feminine Embodiment, where you will start to feel pleasure in your body as you move through the different embodiment practices that I offer you. Beautiful practices of beauty, sensuality, and embodiment, just to feel present and relaxed and at peace in your body and in your heart. When you're feeling relaxed, then you feel safe in your body. And that, to me, is the first step to really receiving pleasure. And we really do need to be making more space for pleasure in our lives, because we are not wired or conditioned to experience pleasure or make space for it. And that's why I have created these pleasure practices for you. This is a major block for us women, and I totally get why. I still feel into the little Jessica inside of me who loved to be creative, but I also remember needing to do everything so perfectly, because I knew, or I felt, that the more that I did things perfectly, the more that I would be seen and accepted in this way. And I realized that there were times where I was so immersed in my creative outlet, whether it was through painting, writing stories, dance, which I absolutely love. And it was my perfectionism, me being so hard on myself, that moved me further away from the essence that sparks my creativity. And that's that feeling of Zen pleasure that is totally inside of you. It's dancing inside of your cells. All you have to do is connect with it. It is the perfectionism that is blocking your pleasure. And it's so drilled into our habitual way of living, moving, and thinking to overanalyze and to be so overly critical of ourselves. And when we do this, it does ripple into not only our lives, but in everything that we do. Our sex, how we relate to ourselves, to our lover, to others. We are so wired to believe that we are not enough just as we are. And that the more that we work harder or force or change ourselves or alter our bodies, the more we learn and do all these spiritual practices, then we believe somewhere, even if it's deep down subconscious, that then we will receive, or then we will receive and feel pleasure or feel good. And then when we have it, even then we start to feel shame for even having it, or we feel like it's going to be lost. So the feeling of not enough ripples into our blueprint as women. It's woven into the way that we show up. And what I've noticed working with women, my clients, they're usually very hardworking women, they're risk takers, they're bold women. And there is that feeling that we, because I put myself in there as well, we have to constantly prove ourselves. And then just maybe we can either feel good or be seen as amazing. But this need, this type of perfectionism all the time, it really blocks your vitality. It can block your natural radiance and your magnetism. This need to do things perfectly all the time because you feel like you're not enough can cut you off from experiencing the love that you are. To feel this innate enoughness that you carry inside of you. Every woman has this incredible amount of love inside of her because she is love. This is her natural state. This is your state. But it's really hard to know this and feel it on a deep somatic level when we are in the head all the time and so immersed in the striving. I'm not opposed to striving and working hard at all. But for most of our lives, I remember for most of my life, I did believe that my love, my gentleness, my heart was the one holding me back. But it's not that. It's not the sensitivity and the love that holds you back. It's your inner critic. She's like a little bitch who likes to run the show. And she can be really harsh, and she likes to manifest as perfectionism. Be perfect in your work, be perfect in your presentations, don't make a mistake. What will others think of you? Be perfect in, how you talk, how you're quick to respond with logic. Be perfect in sex, be perfect in your body. And this is all coming from, yes, often the voices we have received as little girls. But as the mature woman, this inner critic is usually now your own voice directed to yourself. And then you might start to see yourself as the problem. And then you forget how damn powerful and sexy you are, what a divine being you are. All of this just having a human experience. And then we might lose touch with our divinity when we're in that self-criticism, anxiety, and overthinking and worrying and being so hard on ourselves. I believe the goddess, the divine one inside of you, she's the one dancing as pleasure within you, within your body, within your pussy, within your clitoris. I mean, that is the reason why you've been given a beautiful clitoris, and so many of us are ignoring her. Or we're just leaving her for something that we do in sex and leave it for someone else, right, to pleasure us. All of this is just not serving you. You getting in the loop of hating your body and getting stuck in the thoughts, perfecting yourself, it's not serving you. So it's important to notice first, how are you talking to yourself? And it's the way that you're talking to yourself, is it also rippling into the way that you talk to others also? Or maybe with your lover or your beautiful person in your life? Is your inner critic running the show? Is she trying to perfect you and mold you and make you like every other woman because you think that's how you become validated? And then in the process, you disconnect from your pleasure and your radiance. So ask yourself, is this serving me? Are these thoughts serving me? And my heart, there is so much reclamation and empowerment that happens when you bring change to this. And when you realize maybe how much you are blocking your own pleasure, when you realize this, you start to feel more open and soft and receptive, and you come into more of a state of flow. You become less judgmental. And guess what? You feel more bliss, more awake, more alive, more in this ecstatic way of being with life. So this is sacred work to release this hardness, this hard aspect of us, being overly obsessed and overthinking things, always associating yourself with this critical mind. That really creates an imbalance in our bodies. And it latches onto it, and then we stop being present. We cannot feel pleasure if we are not feeling present. So instead, let's embrace more of your inner muse. Be inspired by your own intuitive, divine love. And that happens when you get really present with yourself and you start feeling relaxed in your body, and when you start to develop safety in your body. So you give your mind and you integrate the mind with the body, and you give the mind a new language. I do believe that our inner critic, she's the biggest reason for perfectionism, and why we are not, as women, having orgasms, whole body orgasms, why we're not experiencing energetic orgasms in our day-to-day lives. I also myself have been there, and it was how I was doing things for so long. I was attaching myself to my inner critic. Even though I thought I was such a sensual, sexually active woman, no matter what was going on in my life, whether it was my relationship, my dancing, doing what I love, I still found a way to be harsh with myself. I still need to catch myself when I do this. It not only takes you out of presence, but you stop feeling. If you're disconnecting from your feelings and sensations, of course you can't feel the pleasure as well in your body. But when you embrace more of your inner muse, where you're inspired by your intuition, going into a space of inspiration and feeling that love, you do begin to integrate. Not forcing yourself to heal, but you come back to your center point of love. This frequency is the center of your pleasure when you're connected to this deep love. So your inner critic, she is the biggest reason for your perfectionism. Now, something I also say to my clients is that your perfectionist qualities can also be a very powerful one. So much of us are trying to just get rid of that aspect of us. I'm not saying that at all. It most likely means that you are driven, you're ambitious, you are creative, you have high standards, you get shit done. These are qualities that I value as a woman. But when it starts to control your life, I do believe it does come from somewhere deeper, and it does become a trauma response. And I do know, as someone who's been devoted to this work of the feminine, of pleasure, of love, I know that this way of operating all the time, it doesn't make us feel amazing. This is not where we thrive as women. A lot of us grew up believing that we had to always be on this hamster wheel and this constant motion of proving our worth. And somewhere, maybe as a little girl, you probably realized that, hey, I get this hit in my body. It feels so good. It's coming from a teacher, a parent, whoever it was. And then you probably thought, this is where I get my love. This is where I can feel good. And the better that I do something, the more I'll be noticed. Whatever it was when you were younger. Again, none of this type of drive or hard-working qualities, none of it is bad. But in the process, we may have lost touch with our innate worthiness, our innate beauty and divinity. and the pleasure that we get to feel as women just for being a woman, because you're a queen. You know, we've lost this essence, that life force, or we've disconnected from it. We haven't lost it. We've just disconnected from it, or it's dormant. It's not active. You know, like a volcano that's asleep. So we've disconnected from that part of us that has allowed us to breathe love and passion and beauty into what we are here to bring to life. So when you are living from this space of internal harshness, you do block that flow. You block that sensual, erotic current. Being perfect is not why you are here. You are here to express, to feel, to celebrate your body, to celebrate your essence, to create your life from that pulse inside of you. I believe we are here to live fully from our senses, to have a deep, ecstatic dialogue with our bodies, with the earth, with spirit. And we can really feel all of that through pleasure. Honestly, think about all those times that you've felt inspired. You feel it through pleasure, right? Not by doing more. Again, doing is not wrong. But to feel inspired and creative, it has to come here. To feel sexually active, to feel turned on in life, in sex, in your relationships, going out on a date, whatever it is, serving your clients. It comes from the space of pleasure, right? And we access this sensual, connected way of being by slowing down, by savoring what we're in contact with, by honoring your sensuality. This is the flavor of love. No one else can express your feminine essence but you. But when you're so hard on yourself and you're constantly self-correcting, you do create obstacles that don't need to be there. So the key here is awareness, self-awareness. Become so curious and ask yourself, are you speaking to yourself with love? Perfectionism is what stops you from sharing your gifts or sharing from that space of enjoyment, from bliss. It dims your radiance. And it is an overexpression of the unhealthy masculine, actually. And it stops you from being in that space of that feminine, of that flow, of movement, breath, that space to be in. Because the feminine is that. She's movement, she's life force, she's presence. She's the spark of joy that you feel. She's that pleasure, the bliss dancing through your body. She is this erotic pulse of orgasm that you feel when you wake up. She is the radiance that comes out through your face. And when you forget to prioritize joy, you lose her. You can actually feel her even through your cries, through your rage, through your anger, through your discomfort. Pleasure can be found there. I have actually felt the most amazing, pleasurable experiences. I've felt so orgasmic in those times where I've felt deep hurt and I've been crying. My body is like, purging this erotic energy out of me. And it feels so orgasmic to be there. So what I'm saying here, this isn't about chasing or overstimulation. It's not chasing these highs, waiting for a man to make you feel so amazing that you get all these butterflies in you and you just wait for that moment. I'm talking about a Zen kind of pleasure that has been undervalued. Orgasmic pleasure that you get just from being in the shower, washing your body, from cooking, putting your feet on the grass, but really being there, watching the butterflies, soaking the nectar, having their orgasmic experience with the flower. A Zen pleasure that you get from hugging your man, from being with your girlfriends and laughing. And all of this is felt when you feel safe in the body. So the thing here is learning how to be in this dance finding, I don't like to say balance, but finding, movement, finding your anchor, I should say. I've been in the perfectionism for so long, and I have skipped the flow and focused only on outcome and the achievement. And you know what I've noticed? This is carried through over into sex. It's like I've gone into sex and I've just focused on, I need to get to the outcome. I need to please him. I need to quickly get to the orgasm. And it's like you miss out on the in-between, the sacred unfolding, the deeper meaning of orgasm, of connection. I feel like orgasm isn't just hit, there it is, boom, we explode. That's one part of it, which I love and I'm all for. But you can really feel orgasmic in the in-between, the softness, the connection, the kissing, the foreplay. So now I'm focusing on not letting self-criticism ruin my day. It can show up, and it definitely does. I'm human. But it's, not letting my body become a place I punish. I used to say, I had this complex with my voice and speaking, right? And I would say, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. How dumb, how stupid, whatever it is. And now I just ask myself, why did I say that? What was present for me? That's interesting that moves through me. The more relaxed and anchored I am in my body, the more I just trust what moves through me. And so there is a place of self-acceptance that we come into. And we meet with that self-acceptance when we feel open and soft, surrendered in the body. The feminine is of the body. When we shame our bodies or shame our emotional responses to things, we shut her down. So incorporating sensuality and pleasure into my daily life and connecting with that part of me has built my muscle of self-acceptance, because pleasure and love go hand in hand. Pleasure allows love to be embodied. Pleasure allows yourself to be approved by yourself, to feel the love in the body and to anchor it. That's what pleasure does for you. But when you're hard on yourself, it just becomes harder to be loving with yourself, to enjoy yourself, to enjoy your body. So what a lot of us don't realize is that the feminine in us, the goddess, the creatress, she collapses under self-criticism. She gets lost, she's dimmed, she disappears in shame. And that's how we've silenced her. That's how we stay in perfectionism. And yes, self-reflection is healthy. I'm not saying to ignore that voice of wisdom that says enough, like stop doing that. But when we overdo it, we do kill the feminine, because she thrives in appreciation, in approval, in deep self-acceptance. And that's where she glows. That's when she feels turned on by life. That's when your radiance begins to pulse. So she loves this kind of approval, and not the external approval either that leads to performance or to earning love. I'm talking about inner approval, validation, and appreciation, where you get to just be you and say, I've got you. And pleasure helps you to feel this, to love on yourself in your mess, in your humanity, and still feeling worthy, still feeling divine. This is unconditional love. So yeah, your pleasure is not found in the perfectionism. She's found in your sensual presence, your sensual aliveness, having that connection with the divine, whether that is through the earth, through a sunset, through water, like the elements of the earth. Like I said, all these beautiful things that make you feel happy. Even music is a beautiful one. All these things that get you connected or activated in your senses. Like most of us didn't learn how to live like this or receive pleasure in this way. But now we get to cultivate this from within. So when you immerse yourself in pleasure, when you practice it, breathe with it, dance it, when you move your hips, when you let playful sounds move through you as well, your feminine feels that and she rises and she gets all like ecstatic. This is what my work is truly devoted to. It's deeper than you think. And pleasure is your medicine. It's so damn healing. It's real soul, deep feminine pleasure that is the medicine, or that activates the medicine inside of you, because it softens the parts of you that maybe, that are always in striving mode, always in fixing. So it soothes the perfectionism in you, the one that says you're not enough yet. So when we deny pleasure, we're feeding that inner critic, the one who thrives on getting things right all the time. But your feminine essence, she doesn't bloom in that self-criticism, remember, or in pressure. She blossoms in pleasure. So your pleasure isn't optional, it's essential. It's not a luxury, it's a vital nutrient for your body, for your soul, for your energy, your radiance. For your sex, you were born as this sensual being. That means you were designed to feel all the range of emotions and sensations, and with that comes pleasure. Yes, you were here to feel and enjoy life through these delicious offerings of like eating chocolate and doing it slowly, massaging your skin, listening to music that makes you feel alive in the body. So this isn't indulgence, this is your nature. But no one else can give you this kind of pleasure but you. Only you can choose to open to it. Only you can make space for it. And this is how we begin to dissolve the roots of perfectionism. Because pleasure asks you to slow down. It shifts you from fixing to feeling, from pushing to receiving. And in that slowness, the performing self begins to exhale, right? She stops trying to prove for a moment and just start simply being. And the more you allow for pleasure, the more your inner perfectionist begins to just finally relax. And the more that she relaxes, the more space opens for sensuality and radiance and joy. And your body starts to remember, oh my God, how good it feels to just be home in yourself. So if you're listening to this thinking, I do want to feel more turned on in life, and I do want to feel more turned on in my pussy and more radiant and more magnetic, do know that this begins with that choosing. Choose pleasure. Do you choose pleasure? Not waiting for the perfect moment, not waiting until you've done enough to earn it, not waiting for a guy to start touching you in a certain way. You get to choose it right now, today. And when you do, believe me, something amazing really happens. Your inner critic quietens, your radiance returns. Your feminine essence begins to breathe again. And this is where your power lies. I remember one of my clients, when we finished one of our sessions together in my private temple, deep feminine activation, she's like, I feel so much pleasure. I love being here. I just want to stay here all day long. Before that, she was feeling really tense in her body. And I just saw this amazing glow. Honestly, it was a beauty just emitting from her whole face and her heart. That's what happens when you start to connect with yourself in this way. So if something is stirring inside of you, sister, if you're craving more softness, more sensuality, more freedom to feel, then I do invite you deeper into this path. This isn't about doing more. It's about undoing, actually, unlearning the ways that you've been taught to disconnect. It's about coming home to the magnetic, alive, deeply erotic, feminine woman that you truly are. And I've created a space where pleasure isn't something to feel guilty about. Instead, you remember that this is your portal to your power. I'm here supporting you in this. It will shift your entire life in the way that you feel about yourself, in the way that you see life as well, and how you show up in life. And then what is really a priority for you in life. Feels so yummy even thinking about it. So if this speaks to you, do check out my offerings below. And I hope this landed with you. I hope this felt inspiring to your heart, and I hope you feel more activated in your own pleasure just by listening to this. If you loved this, please give me a like, comment a heart below so I know that you're here, and that also helps me to be seen in the algorithm and all of that. All of your love and support here really means the world to me, so thank you, beautiful. Remember to sign up for my free program, Erotic Feminine Embodiment, to start this journey of inviting in pleasure into your body. And we do this in a really organic way. It doesn't feel forced. It feels really joyful and blissful and just loving and gentle. Let me know what landed in your heart. And if you take anything away from this, remember that you were truly made for this level of aliveness and pleasure. That's what I hope you get from this, is to know that your body is made for that. That's why, as I said, you were given your amazing yoni to experience the bliss, the pleasure, infinite pleasure. And it all begins with one moment of yes, fuck yes. And I'll leave you there. Thank you so much for being here, beautiful. My name is Jessica Angelari. See you in the next one. Mwah. Bye.